Welcome to the Yoked Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Hall, alongside my wife and co-host, Ingrid.
On this podcast, we talk about all things real estate, entrepreneurship, business, faith, family, you name it, we talk about it, and how we do it all as an equally yoked husband and wife team.
We are glad you're here. Thanks for listening. Enjoy this week's episode. Welcome to the Yoked Podcast. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome.
This is episode number 25.
I know. Can you believe it?
We did it. It's amazing.
It's working.
25.
Is anyone still listening?
Right? Yeah. Actually, for those of you that have watched or listened to every episode, thank you. Truly, it means a lot to us. We get texts a lot from people like, "Hey, that was a great episode."
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. There's people from other countries that listen. I'm like, what? This is crazy.
I mean, we set out just to share and add value, and I think it's doing that.
Yeah, and it's been fun. The accountability of, being intentional has been good. And today is Ingrid's birthday.
Right? 22 again.
22 again.
Let's go.
No, this is it. This is the actual day.
I know, which is funny because I have a girlfriend in town, birthday buddy, and was talking about the last time I was home for a birthday. It's been almost 6 years.
Yeah, we're always out camping, gallivanting, exploring.
Like McConaughey, we've been in, everywhere, truly.
And we just moved to where we camp. And so now we're here.
Stationed. This is what it's like to wake up and have in your own bed and have coffee.
Right? To live in a dreamy spot where you get a vacation. Well, what are we talking about today?
Yeah. What better way to celebrate than to talk about 17 ways to get out of a bad deal? I think this is super timely.
It is timely.
For people who, have followed on some of our journey over the last few years, it's been a really hard few years. We are not immune to that. It's been a hard few years for our investments. And there have been many times when we've just sat down with a whiteboard and brainstormed and said, how else can we get out of this?
Yeah. What are we not thinking about?
What are we not thinking about? And then the next idea and the next idea and the next idea. And so we thought it'd be helpful just for anybody. So this is for not just investors who maybe are in a bad flip or thought their exit strategy they thought they could do isn't going to work anymore. This is also for sellers who they don't have a choice but to sell right now in a down market. Are there other ways to exit the property besides selling in a down market if you don't want to? So.
Yeah, you are the owner of the property.
That's your lens.
That's your lens. And will every single one of these options work for you? No.
And some of them are a little out there.
We were thinking all right, and we are actively doing this right now.
Yes.
And so, we have these conversations often with our sellers that, they're listing the property, and it's hey, you kind of just bang your head against the wall. It's why isn't this selling? Well, the market's it's in a unique spot.
Sure is.
It's more balanced. They say it's a healthier market, but if you're a seller right now, it doesn't feel healthy. And so, I think this is a good exercise for us to go through and really think through and put pen to paper of what options are there.
Yeah. So we broke them into categories.
We got 17 options.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty good. It's impressive, I think.
Yeah.
The amount of options. All right. So, and we kind of have them in categories.
Yeah.
So the first category is just traditional quick cash sale, right?
Yeah. So you're a seller on the market with a property, and truly one of the best ways to exit it is just to drop the price. The market's telling you it's overpriced. Now, there are multiple ways to do that. You can incentivize with a rate buy down, credits. There's different buckets credits can go into. You should have a lender that can get kind of strategic about ways that could best incentivize the buyer.
The hard part is that we're seeing this all over.
Yeah.
And so you can easily get drowned out in the noise. And the best way is to incentivize everyone by actually dropping the price. We can't see an advertised price reduction as easy as they can a price drop. But sometimes price drops don't do anything.
True.
You might not get it sold, or you got to do another one or a bigger one. And so, it's not as fun.
No, but it is.
It is the number one option.
It's certainly a way to incentivize offloading the property.
Absolutely. All right, number two.
Other ways, to do it on the market.
Yeah, on the market, you can do an auction style sell. And so there are different platforms out there where you can put your property on and literally auction it off. And so generally, are you going to get the same amount? No, Can you put a floor on the auction? Yes.
And there's
We have
usually
never,
buzz.
yeah, we've never done this ourselves, but we explored it because we have a friend, her client has done one. And so it is real, it is out there. And so, generally it's going to be a cash buy by an investor, and cash means discount.
But
And
there's
so,
usually it's for high end or unique properties.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something that will cash flow well, or some
Yeah.
type of unique thing. But yeah, just auction or what's called a concierge sale. So that is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's a third one?
So if you're in a flip, I would say wholetailing it to another investor. So something's changed for you. You need to offload the property. You have other obligations.
Mhm.
Just because it's not the best flip for you in the moment doesn't mean it's not good for somebody else. So wholetailing it would mean either putting it on the market at a wholesale price. That's going to cast you the widest net, or going to some of these wholesalers and seeing if you can just wholesale it to them and be done.
Right. And that really works if you haven't finished the flip.
Yeah.
If it's fully finished and on the market and nothing's happening, it's not the same strategy. But if you bought it and maybe you're in out of funds and you didn't finish it, maybe somebody else can take over and there's still enough meat on the bone
Yeah.
to get it sold.
Yeah.
All right. If you can't sell it retail on the market,
Convert to cash
yeah,
flow.
maybe we try to hold it.
Yes.
And so, are there ways that you could exit the property via keeping it and changing, your mindset? So, number one, just simply, can you rent it out? Can you rent it out? I know that most people are like, I don't want to be a landlord. I agree. I understand that mindset, but can you rent it out and ideally cover your expenses?
But even if you can't maybe cover expenses, or like, hey, I just need to get through this, season.
Right.
Can you rent it out for 6 months and lose $300 a month?
Right.
And as opposed to like losing $3,000 over how many months of holding it.
One like this example would be if, maybe like you own a home, it was your house, and then you moved and bought a new house already, and your house is sitting vacant. And it's not selling for what you need it to, or what you want it to, or what it should. And it's costing you, and you're paying double mortgage. And so maybe we explore, let's just keep it. You're basically kicking the can.
Yeah.
You're kicking the can for this kind of crazy season to just calm down. And
Yep.
so get a renter in there. You're not going to lose as much. Maybe you can, instead of long-term rent, maybe you can do a short-term rental. Can you do an Airbnb? Can you do a mid-term rental? Some type of rental. Those all have their own, we've talked about them on the podcast. Like they all have their own things, but simply renting it would be number 4. What about another one?
Yeah, another unique way to convert it into cash flow would be to do a lease option or rent to own. So oftentimes you're selling it to a buyer with the option for them to have the property. Those payments they're making are crediting towards a purchase price.
They can be. They don't have to.
Can be, yeah. And at the end of the day, advantages would be if they don't end up going through with the lease option, you get the property back.
Right.
And you're probably in a different market then.
Well, and the upside is oftentimes with a lease option, buyer, they're still tenant, but they want to buy the property. And so they treat it more like a homeowner would, hopefully. Yeah. And often they're willing to pay a little bit more in rent. And so if that rent, that long-term rental isn't quite covering what you needed to, maybe a lease option could, because they're willing to pay a premium.
So this would be a great option for like a tired landlord. If they have been a landlord and they have current tenants and you love your tenants, go to them and say, hey, what about a lease option? Do you just want to buy it from me?
Yeah. And the option, they can exercise that option in whatever time period you guys decide.
Yeah.
The trick is that you're oftentimes setting the price now. And so they might be having the upside of the price now for buying in the future.
Yep.
So it's it is a good option, and it's a good strategy. All right. Number 6, an installment sale, or like a seller note with a balloon. This is a little more creative, but basically it's called contract for deed or installment land contract or an installment sale. They're all kind of one and the same, but you're not actually transferring title to the buyer until the terms of the contract have been fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so imagine like buying a car from a car dealership with financing. You don't get the title until it's all done.
We can balloon it in 3 to 5 years or whatever works, and you kind of become that bank.
Exactly. So which it leads us into like a more creative option. So let's talk about category 3, which is a much more creative, which obviously that's what we love. We love the creative side of things. And so let's talk about that. So Number 7, a wraparound
Yes.
seller finance. Again, this is higher level, but these are options if you have a decent rate.
Yeah, which we see a lot of sellers right now with great rates.
It doesn't have to be great. It could be, kind of anything.
Yeah.
Anything could work, but anything under 6 really
Yes.
right now.
Right now. And there's tons of rates out there that are 2 and 3%. I mean, when you have a rate that is that low, the asset becomes the rate, not necessarily the property. And so
Right.
how can you sell the rate? Well, you can wrap it, right? You have a 2.5% rate, you can wrap it and sell it at 5%. That's a great deal for somebody right now. So you would be wrapping your existing mortgage, profiting on the spread, and they are purchasing it. Now, the other way to do that would just be our next one, which is just to give it to them subject to the existing mortgage and not wrap it.
Right. Oh, and we've talked about this example before, but our client earlier this year, they could not get their property, their condo sold for what they wanted. And they had a number they really wanted, and it was totally justified based on comps, and the market was tricky. And so we wrapped the property and they sold it directly to a buyer, and it worked out. Like, they got their price they wanted. They gave pretty favorable terms in the interim until the balloon has come due. They're making monthly interest on the delta between what their payment was and the new payment is.
And there's a lot of, risks, obviously. We've talked about this at length in other episodes, but in this specific example, that seller was in the marijuana industry. So couldn't get
the buyer.
Or the buyer, sorry.
Yeah.
The buyer was in the marijuana industry,
Mm-hmm.
so couldn't get a loan. It's not that they weren't qualified, didn't have high credit, none of that. They were just in an industry that doesn't have, traditionally supported backed mortgages from the government.
Yep, so true.
Great buyer.
Great. It worked out perfect.
Yeah.
It was. So let's talk about number 8, which is just straight subject to more of an assignment style. And so this example would be more like if you don't have very much equity.
Yeah, low or no equity, which you're seeing a lot in new builds.
You see a lot of this in new builds, even up here, in Idaho, like from properties that were bought several years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, but they overpaid in hindsight, they did. In the moment, it wasn't. They had to pay that to get the deal. But now that they're looking at selling, their equity has gone down, or they're a VA and they didn't put any money down, or different scenarios. But needless to say, right now, their only option is to short sale this thing. And that is not on our list. A short sale or a foreclosure, that is not, in my opinion, that's not ideal way of getting out of the property.
No.
Sometimes it's what's required, but that's not on our list. And so this would be, in lieu of a short sale, you basically let an investor or a new buyer come over and take over your payments. Because like you said, maybe your rate is 3% and it is the single best thing that you have on the property. You don't have any equity. And so it's not like you're going to make money on the sale. You're likely going to have to cut a check to close. And so this might preserve that where you don't have to do it.
Well, not only that, but in the last few years, when rates were low, I mean, we saw lots of builders selling. I mean, the thing about builders and new developments, shiny, beautiful HOAs and pools, like, I love it. However, they set the price, not just for the property, but they set the price for the loan because they can offer these incentives. And so right now you're seeing just huge price drops and lender incentives. They've absolutely cut the feed out from anybody that purchased in the last few years.
Yeah, if you're selling and you bought yours a couple years ago, I mean, the builder can just totally undercut you.
Yeah. So
whether price
rate
or the rate. And so, yeah, it makes it tricky.
All right. How about a novation agreement?
Yeah, this one's interesting. It is a good idea. It's and all these, we should say, like these specifically, you need someone in your corner, an attorney, someone that's helping you with this.
Yes.
But a novation agreement. So basically the way this would work, and we have one that we're working right now with a seller up here that we kind of pitched. It's kind of an in-between. So you have a property, you're the owner, and maybe you're on the market. Example, you're on the market for $525. It needs some fix up. Maybe it's been a rental, or just it needs some love. And the market's telling you that. They're like, well, it's overpriced for what it is. Or if you just need to fix it up. Maybe it needs 30 grand of updates.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then you can sell it via novation agreement where you sell it to a flipper and say, hey, let's do a novation. you come in, Mr. and Mrs. Flipper, and you front all of the costs to do this light renovation because maybe you don't have 30 grand just sitting, they're ready to spend on a property. And then they come in, do some minor updates, make it pretty, spruce it, stage it, whatever they do, and make it look pretty. And then they sell it for 565, 570, because now that it's clean and updated, more people want it. And then with the novation, you just say, hey, I want my 525. Anything on top of that, you get. And so there's a win-win where somebody else, obviously there's a benefit for them. They are fronting the cost of the renovation.
Yeah.
And so there's risk, but it's a legal contract agreement.
And I think oftentimes, like, you think of a creative idea like this and you think, well, who would do that?
Right.
Well, this is some people's entire business model.
It is.
Because they don't want to pay those holding costs and those carrying costs. Those can be a lot. Or they have cash tied up in a different deal and they want to do the project, but they don't have the means to.
And they have a crew ready to go.
Exactly. Yeah. They need to keep crews busy. I mean, don't think, oh, well, that wouldn't work for mine, because there's somebody out there that it might be looking exactly for that kind of project.
I mean, the deal that I just walked this property the other day up here, and this is a good,
funniest little layout.
It's a great
garbage layout.
Great property, little house up here in Idaho, and it is a funky layout. And so it's tricky. Like, there's some things that are done to the nines, like beautiful updates, but the house as a whole, it needs, like, the basement, no carpet, the walls need to be repaired, the bathroom's destroyed. It's in renovation mode right now.
And they just ran out of steam.
And they completely ran out of steam. And so it's one of those where I'm talking to them. I'm like, I can give you a cash price. The cash, like, your house doesn't need to be flipped fully. And so you're kind of in this in between where, like, you need some love and some updates. And so we kind of pitch them on this creative side, idea of innovation with the subject to a kind of a blend of multiple, but where we can profit share at the end. It's like, it is a unique way of doing innovation. It is a technical innovation style with ownership. So it's a little bit different.
I mean, it might be the only way they can get their property sold.
Truly. I mean, on market, like, you're selling to a fixer-upper type of home buyer, and it, with the other strikes on the property, it's like, man, like, you're just not going to get what you want right now on the market.
Yeah.
So it is a good option. It's a good way to think a little bit more creatively. All right, what's next? Number 10.
Number 10, you can sell the LLC or the entity that purchased it. And so bypassing all of the title work, taxes, and actually just selling ownership to the entity. What are instances where, like, this would be advantageous for the buyer?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple different ways. I mean, this is pretty high level as well, but your property is owned in an LLC, and so you're selling your shares of the LLC. So someone comes in and steps in. Usually, there's going to be some type of discount there, but you can also think of it from which goes into our next one, is if you own it with a partner or you bring on a partner. These next two kind of all go hand in hand, but they're all wrapped into this idea of an LLC. But you bring in a partner. Maybe you sell or finance your shares to your partner. Maybe they don't have all the equity to just come in and buy you out, but you would take terms. You would take payments over time. Or this idea, number 12, of the bonus depreciation that we've been really camping on these last two episodes, because now it's back to 100%. You can structure a deal where you sell the property maybe to an LLC. Maybe you come in, or maybe you already own an LLC, and then you bring on a JV partner, you do a cost segregation and do this bonus depreciation. And the incentive for the partner that's now in the deal and bringing capital to the deal or bringing something to the deal where it makes benefit for you is that they're going to get the tax incentive through a K1 negative bonus depreciation.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very high level, but it is, and we have been exploring this on a couple different deals on how can we structure it this way where it's beneficial for them. The question is always, like, how about the recapture? When does the recapture happen? Which is what, if you sell a property, you recapture that depreciation because you didn't actually own it the life of what you just accelerated.
What you just did.
And so that's where the CPA comes in and figures out, but there's a ways that you can do it where you buy out that partner. They're no longer part of the entity over a certain amount of time, and then you sell it. So then you, as the owner, you recapture it, but it is definitely a way of bringing in capital if you need it solely for them, this partner, to get a large tax write-off.
And so this would be ideal for like your buddy who is a high earner, has, maxes out their K contributions every year and is looking for somewhere else besides stocks to put money. High earners, W-2s, like anybody looking for shelter. This is a great opportunity of saying like, hey, you need to pay less in taxes. I need to shift some things off of my plate. Can you come in and we can structure it this way? So if you know somebody in that type of situation who's maybe looking to start dabbling in real estate,
Right.
this would be a great option because it's not a lot of work.
And I mean, you definitely need people in your corner on that one just to make sure that you're doing it correctly.
As always.
But I mean, it can be we're exploring a couple of deals right now where that is the leading driving factor of why people want to in the deal. It's a big apartment building.
Yeah.
And their leading pitch is this: we can do a bonus depreciation with this cost segregation study, and the amount of tax incentive is huge.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you bring that up because we're not necessarily talking about exit strategies just for sellers. It expands to lenders because we are a lender in some of these deals where we have pushed, the partnership group to look at some of these other creative ways to offload the deal because the appraisal numbers didn't come through. The refi numbers didn't come through. The DSCR loan sucks. Like whatever that is, it's like, okay, well, is there a different way, even as a lender, that you could do some of these?
That's so true. I mean, we have multiple seats in multiple deals where lender, JV partner on the actual company, and these, I mean, we've thought about all these options for those deals as well.
Yes.
So it is so true. All right, let's keep going. Category 5.
This is unique, but honestly, it would work. It's category 5 is to change the use of the property.
Yeah.
And so honestly, this almost works anywhere for any type of property. So even like a rural environment, single family home, some of these could work. So I love these, but number 13 would be rezone or convert to a new use. You have a single family home and it has a back door that goes straight downstairs. Can you convert it into a duplex? Obviously getting more return for rental income, or your family has a walkout basement. You don't ever really use the basement. You can kind of live upstairs and short-term rent out the basement.
Another example is on that same idea is you have a duplex and can you convert it to 2 townhomes?
Yeah.
Some towns, it's all about jurisdictions, like what is required. We've explored this multiple times. And the areas that we were in, it was very labor intensive to do it. But some towns and jurisdictions, it is literally a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's a party wall agreement. And so and the reason is that 2 single families are worth more oftentimes than 1 duplex.
Not everyone wants to be a landlord.
Not everybody wants to be a landlord. Yep. And so can you sell them as townhomes? Something like that.
Yeah. So rezoning it, converting it to a new use. The next one would be refinancing it and holding it. So this is where we're talking about a DSCR loan. Mm-hmm. You have equity in the property. This is for us, this is a duplex we have right now on the market. We've listed it. It is an incredible little property, but not in this market. And the market has told us that. And we're not willing to take all of those price reductions. And so really what we're doing is looking to put a DSCR loan on it because we need some of that cash out and then sell it later.
Because there's a pile of cash just sitting there in equity.
Yeah.
And we have a great rate, which is awesome. But we would like to use the equity for other deals right now.
Yeah. And the buyers that we're looking at don't have the ability to bring hundreds of thousands of dollars to the table to just do a seller finance. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, if those don't work, by the end of the day, if we go through with the DSCR loan, we will probably lose $200 a month, maybe. But that right now is worth it to us to be able to kind of exit it this way.
Yeah, the goal of the DSCR would be to bring the new monthly payment as close to, it might be a little bit over our monthly rental income. But basically where the monthly cash flow is gone. But
you're waiting for the market
the amount of cash out that we get on the refi is all tax-free.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking on rezoning, our good buddy Kevin, they did this on their house in Denver. I mean, not a legal rezone. They did not go through the whole process of having it rezoned. There's a lot of duplexes there. They probably could have got it, but They had a single family home in Denver, and they, top down with basement, and they added an exterior entrance to the basement, walled off the main, or maybe not. Maybe they just put a deadbolt on the door. I don't remember. But they have they have a unit downstairs. They have two rental units in their single family house. They doubled their rent, and it definitely worked for them.
I love that.
All right, let's talk about number 15. You talk about this one.
Okay, honestly, I love this. Changing the use to like some kind of glamping, event venue, pop-up use. Like
Right.
I think about a mobile business.
This is highly creative and way out there.
Highly creative, very wild, but also real. Like, do you have a portion of the property that you can rent out for certain things? Do you have like a sewer clean out on your rural property, and now you can put in a fire pit and it becomes a camping spot? There's plenty. I mean, our friends, like, RV full time, they look for properties like this.
Yeah.
Has everyone always said you have incredible views? Okay, great. Well, you can rent it out for venues or family reunions. I mean, anything like that.
You rent out a chunk of your driveway.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you have a big driveway that you can
with
rent out.
With no HOA, and somebody can come park their RV there.
For $100 a month.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, like, getting really thinking outside the box of what do we have? If you're an HOA, it's trickier.
Sure.
But if you're not, like, what do we have, and what are we not thinking of? What do we have that we just have grown accustomed to, and like we don't think about it, but somebody else will be like, that's amazing, and I will pay you for it.
I mean, as we were thinking through some of these, I thought about even our house right now, and like the fact that we have mini bikes and, paddle boards. And I'm like, man, you could just like lock those up and we could run just a little like rental shop here out of the back.
Ingrid the other day was thinking, because we have electric vehicles, there's not as much charging up here.
Like zero.
And so she's like, could we just like, install the charger and charge people to charge their cars? I'm like, but things like that is creative, and it's an option. And I mean, I like it. All right, number 16.
Yeah, 16, which is a category in and of itself.
It is. And I like this one a lot. And it's, again, high level, but it's all wrapped into one. And so this is more of a high yield operational rental. Keyword is operational. And so the first thing is, maybe it's a big house and you have, it's a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, and a long-term rental. It's going to bring in $3,000 a month. Could you add some bedrooms, maybe get rid of some of the living space, add some bedrooms?
Formal dining.
Yeah, formal dining. Just put up some walls and add bedrooms and make it a co-living property. Maybe it's close to a transit zone where co-living is the future of affordable housing. It just is. And so are you in a spot where you could rent by the room and take that rental from, $3,000 total to $900 a month in rent per room and get $5,400?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or that's just straight co-living. Or could you sublease it, basically sit to an operator of something like a sober living house or an assisted living house? Is it work for one of those two options? And people will immediately go, well, I don't want to have to operate that. Well, you don't have to. If you can find an operator in your community, you might be able to bring in $7,000 a month in rent. And it's being operated by someone that does sober living or assisted living.
And like, if this is you, and with all of these, like, yes, we know people all across the U.S. that are sober living operators specifically. So we'd love to help.
It's not like the super popular in our community, but it is co-living, sober living, and assisted living are three big, because I mean, they bring in so much more rent and they're needed.
Yeah. I think about too, like all these college towns, you like walk into these like houses that, groups of like a soccer team, like my soccer team, or it's like everything was converted into a bedroom. Like old dining room, you're a bedroom now. Sunroom, you're a bedroom. Like, I mean, that's exactly.
We lived in co-living for a while, but
I love it.
It was student housing. Oh, maybe that's an option too. If you're in a college area, don't call it co-living.
Rent by the room. You're
housing.
Renting by the bed, I should say.
Totally.
More so. Like even the summer that we met at the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, my roommate Melissa and I, we each had our own lease, but we shared a room and just had our own little single bed.
We called it employee housing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like mine. It was $500 a month for my bed.
I know. So huge upside in cash flow potential. Again, a little bit more outside of the box.
Okay.
So,
Number 17.
Bring us home.
You bring us home.
I was thinking about this the other day. And we, have had our fair share of deals that have not gone the way we wanted in the last few years. The only way out is through. It is to go lose money, fail fast, and move on. And this is really like, it's kind of for your mental load of like, I've got to be done. I was thinking of some of our friends and clients that had a flip last year, and the market turned. The lack of the garage just killed them. Tons of showings, beautifully remodeled, very desirable part of Denver. And at the end of the day, it was never going to be able to gain a garage. I mean, looked at every possible scenario, and the only way out was through. It's like, you got to go lose money and chalk it up to some expensive learning lessons and be done. And there's still value in that. And I honestly think like there's ways to stretch yourself where like, what can I live without? Maybe I sell my nice car so I can lose money on this deal. Maybe I sell,
Yeah.
what do you need to maybe do without so that you can just fail fast and move on?
And like, and we know that's the crappy
Yeah.
answer, but it's real. And like
Sure.
sometimes you don't have options, and that's where the, short sale or
Mhm.
foreclosure comes in. That you don't want it to, but it is an option at the end of the day if it has to be.
Yeah, it really does.
And so, yeah, I mean, we hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
It definitely was helpful for us, like kind of just working through and really thinking about different options, because we are actively doing this on multiple deals. And so,
And helping sellers do it on multiple deals, and have over the last few helped sellers and investors over the last few years think of every possible way to get out of just a stuck deal.
because right now in this market, it is a tricky market. However, it's also an amazing market. If you're on the buy side, if you're an investor, like there is so much opportunity right now for a deal. But on the sell side, it can be a little trickier right now.
Yeah.
And so it is a little bit more balanced. But all right, let's end it. Knowing all this on your birthday, what are you yoked to today?
Honestly, just that positivity of like, you're not stuck until you're stuck. It's not over till it's over. Like, what am I not thinking about? And just trying to maintain positivity and know that like, there's got to be one other thing I'm not thinking of. There has to be. And if you can't think of it, you need to go find somebody that is thinking about it.
Right.
And so truly like, and we, DM us. We love like helping people think of creative ways out of it. If you've got a deal that's absolutely stuck, trust me, we have thought about our own in rounds.
Yeah, visit us. I mean, our website's partnerwithnorth.com. It's easy. We're there.
What are you yoked to?
Man, I think
Rice Krispie treats?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, amen. I think right now, in this lens of what we just talked about, I am yoked to a whiteboard.
Yes.
Because for me, like brainstorming, like the way I think, like you're a whiteboarder.
I am.
Like, but with like notes. I see our whiteboard right now. It's like notes and reminders, and I'm more like a processor. I just like think. I'm just thinking in my sloppy handwriting and just like getting it up there and wiping it off. It helps me like brainstorm.
Yeah.
And so I'd say if you're like that, like whiteboard or not, like piece of paper, but dedicated time to think.
Yeah.
And I'm just a visual thinker.
I love that. A brainstorm sesh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Where can people find you?
Well, as always, you can find me on Instagram at the Travis Hall.
I am at
all the socials, but
yes.
But like I said, send us a DM, comment on one of these if this is beneficial. Send us, DM, ask us questions. Partnerwithnorth.com. Any way we can help you, we would love to help you, because we do know that it can be just unsettling right now if you're in this seat.
Yeah.
And so it stinks. And so having someone to help you think through other options are key.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Yoked Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along as we drop a new episode each week.